name is Robyn Jackman, and this is my internship presentation. So, for my internship, I worked with the victim advocate at the San County Attorney's Office. I live here in Ephraim right now, but my husband's going to school, and so I had to look for an internship in the area. So I'll talk about a little bit about how the opportunity came about. So for an assignment in child and family advocacy, we had to find a community group or a community institution that was advocating for children or families or both. And so the one I found was the Children's Justice Center. There are like 29 of them in Utah or something like that, and what they do is they help children in abuse situations through the legal process. They conduct interviews in a safe and comfortable environment, and they provide you with all the resources necessary to help your child or any child through that process. So I was interested in that, and so I went there for my assignment to interview the people that work there. And I met Diane, who is in charge there, and we were just talking after, and I asked her if she had need of an intern in her branch of the Children's Justice Center. And it's such a small location that they're really just on call. So there's not someone in the office all the time. And so she said it probably wouldn't be enough hours for me to have my internship be there. But she recommended to me that I talk to Stephanie, the victim advocate at the San County Attorney's Office, because the Children's Justice Center works under the Attorney's Office. So I contacted Stephanie, and I just asked her if she would need an intern. Told her my situation, that I was a student at Birmingham University, Idaho. And she welcomed me with open arms. She was just so excited. And she talked to the attorneys, and it all just worked out, so I was able to start my internship there. And while I was there, I also got to learn about the New Horizons Crisis Center. And I was able to spend one of my days there during my internship. And they are a women's shelter that helps women in domestic violence situations specifically to get out. They offer housing, they offer help with relocation, and help with job finding, help with children and childcare, and they just help with those kinds of situations. So now I'll share a little bit about my experience there. So that's a picture of my desk. And these are some pictures of brochures and resources that I was able to update and that I was able to go through. So what you do as a victim advocate is you help victims of crimes through the justice process. And we helped victims from something getting stolen to there was a murder case, or there was, abuse cases, different things like that. But you get to contact the victim and share with them the resources that you have that can help them. So I got to work on my communication skills, and I learned a lot about how to talk to people over the phone and make them feel comfortable. I learned a lot about patience, because some people are a little more needy, some people are harder to reach, some people are just all different. And so I learned how to communicate effectively with each of them. A regular week for what I did looked like on Monday, we would prepare for court. And what that means is we would print off the tentative calendar for what was going to happen during court that week. And all we did was look at the cases that involved a victim. We'd highlight them, and then we would find the victims, and we would contact them and let them know what was happening. We'd let them know when court was, that they have the right to observe it if they want to, and that we are there to help them if they need a protective order, or if they need help with monetary things, or if they need some sort of counseling, or if they need some form of restitution. So we were there to help them when they needed those things. I also was able to help to build a resource list. So we took the resources that are available here in Sanpete County and different hotlines that are available nationwide, and we compiled a list that we can give to people that gives them all the resources they might need, all the resources that their family might need, their friends, everything like that, so that they have it all laid out for them and that they know where to find it. But, and then on Wednesday, we would watch court. We can't go to court because of COVID, but we were able to watch it and we could update the victims on what was happening with their cases. We helped them to understand what the different things mean. The process can be long, and we had to help them through that long process and help them to feel that they'd receive justice at the end. And it was really cool to see the end of those cases and to see how excited the victim was that something had happened, or to see how happy they were to receive restitution for what they lost and things like that. It was awesome to see how they changed over time. But that's a little bit about what I did. Benefits. So, some of the benefits that I received during this internship was I learned so much. One thing I learned about was the judicial system. I kind of understood how our judicial system worked, how justice was served, but when you're immersed in that, you better understand the process that people go through when they have criminal disputes. And it was really interesting to be able to learn more about that and to see how justice happens. I also learned a lot about being compassionate towards others and not judging others, because you deal with a lot of interesting people in this job. You see all kinds. Sometimes you don't understand why they think the way they're thinking, or why they don't want to get out of a certain situation, but you just try to understand where they're coming from, and you remember that they've got hard things going on in their lives. And when I learned that, it helped me to see other people differently too, not just the people that I worked with that were victims, but the people that are just in my life in general, that I meet every day. I look at them and I think of them differently because I don't understand their background. I also learned a lot about communication. I had to communicate with the people in my office, and I became really good friends with them, and that kind of communication was fun. And I also learned how to communicate with people who had been struggling. I learned a lot of skills with how to use office phones. I mean, we're so used to our cell phones that it was kind of a different experience to use an office phone, and I thought that was really neat. But some ways that I benefited the office was that I helped the victim advocate with all of the tasks that she had to do. So one big thing that she had to do, her position is grant-based, so she has to track everything she does. And so everything I would do, I tracked it for her, so that she didn't have to keep track of all the things I was doing too. So I also got to help her track and learn how to do the grant system. And so that was a big help to them, because normally she has to do it all alone and it's a lot of work. But she has to document everything and send it in so that they can get the funds to utilize the victim advocate and utilize the resources they have. That's one way I benefited them. And also just in my everyday tasks, I was able to split the workload and make it easier on my supervisor. And I was also able to help the others in the office with tasks that they needed. Help them to not be so busy on busy days, and I kind of made the office life a little easier. It was really fun. Now, my connections to coursework. So, the one course, well, I just chose one. I made a lot of connections to coursework, but this one has to do with that assignment about the Children's Justice Center. So, this is just the overview of the assignment from Canvas. But it was to find a community organization that does something to advocate on behalf of or supporting children and families. And then we had to write a paper about it. We interviewed them and wrote a paper about it, and I was so glad I chose the Children's Justice Center. During my work with the victim advocate, I got to attend the Children's Justice Center a few times and join some meetings that they had there. And it was really cool to learn about the different programs that advocate for children and families. I didn't really know a whole lot about this job or this career field before this assignment. And when I learned about it, I wasn't quite sure. I was like, I don't know, it sounds kind of scary. But then I went and interviewed Diane at the Children's Justice Center for this, and I really became interested in the legal process and how we can help children specifically through that process. And so when I found out that I could do my internship there, I thought it was really exciting. I had a lot of fun. I would recommend this to someone. I don't know how often they'd be in need of an intern, or if anyone would even be down here in Sanpete County that would need an internship, but I would recommend it. Here is my supervisor's contact information. Her name is Stephanie, and if you just give her an email, she's very quick to respond, and she is very nice and very easy to talk to. But I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to do this internship. I learned a lot, and I had a lot of fun while doing it too. Sometimes it was hard, sometimes it was scary, sometimes it wasn't as enjoyable as other times, but overall, I am very grateful for what I've learned, and I'll be able to take that with me into the future.